Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Now, mercy was a significant virtue in the Jewish tradition. It was often associated with God's own character. In fact, the Lord described himself. Here's God's description. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. And acts of mercy for the Jews included things like almsgiving. So you go into the temple and people would beg and you'd give some coins to them. Or forgiving debts when people couldn't pay. In fact, there was a whole law of 7-year debt reduction, 50-year or 7 sevens, 49-year, and the 50th year was called Jubilee, where all debts were forgiven. It's showing compassion to those in need, particularly orphans and widows. There were even regulations about how we take care of the most vulnerable, the foreigners, the widows, and orphans. In the law of God, if someone came from another nation and came into Israel, they were obligated to take care of them, to allow them to have a place to stay and food to eat and not let them go naked. There's this scene in Schindler's List, and maybe you remember it, where these Jews that he saved give him a ring, and inside the ring is inscribed a passage from the Talmud. That's the Jewish body of wisdom. And it says, "Whoever saves one life saves the world entire." I love the quote, and I love the movie. I was very moved by that scene. Here's the problem. The quote was not accurate in the movie. The Talmud does not say whoever saves one life. It says whoever saves one life of an Israelite will save the world entire. It was about Jewish people, not all people. It's part of why Jesus' rendition of this Beatitudes is so radical. Even in the Old Testament, compassion was for the people of God, for Israel. And yes, you had to take care of foreigners sometimes, but mercy was for God's people. We cannot be shown mercy in Jesus' teaching if we don't show mercy to others. Because Jesus expanded the circle not to Israel, but to the world. That was the whole purpose of the Good Samaritan. The Samaritan was the enemy of Israel, but wound up being better than the Israelites because he showed mercy to someone who is different on the other side of the tracks. Therefore, we need to show mercy even to our enemies. We cannot, according to Jesus, we cannot be shown mercy if we don't show mercy to others. And when were we shown mercy? It's not after we repented. It was while we were still enemies that God showed mercy to us. Therefore, we need to show mercy to our enemies while they're still our enemies. Not when they repent, not when they apologize. The world's solution is to isolate and injure enemies. Jesus' solution is to sacrifice for enemies so they become friends, even family, brothers and sisters in Christ. And that's something worth talking about.